Some new Senate analysis over from Nate Silver at 538. Let's throw this up there on the screen. Basically, the 538 model has moved to a 2-to-1 favorite for Democrats taking control of the United States Senate. Obviously, that would have immense ramifications if that were to happen. The current kind of modal probability is basically a 14% chance of 51 D seat, 49 R's in the United States Senate. However, it's within the realm of possibility that the Democrats pick up 55 seats. I should also say it's within the realm of possibility that the Republicans keep 53 seats. So right. I want to make sure we lay out that's how probability works. Now, in terms of the tightest races that are happening right now in the country, Joni Ernst in Iowa against Greenfield is probably one of the biggest question marks in the entire election, because Iowa is supposed to be a deep red state. And Trump is popular in Iowa. He's still probably going to win Iowa, not by the same margin that he did in 2016. But Joni Ernst is much more of your kind of cookie cutter Republican. She's not faring so well. She's been down several points in some recent polls out of the state. One of the most high quality polls there actually showed her down by a single point. 538 has it at a total toss up. Now, the other ones are a little bit more predictable. And frankly, we probably know which way it's going to go. So, Maine. Sarah Gideon there, 2/3 chance of winning. Tom Tillis, also, despite, we'll talk about this, despite some scandals down in that territory. Kyle Cunningham looks like he's doing pretty well. Steve Bullock, however, not posing the challenge to Steve Daines that many people thought. Steve Daines actually seems to be doing quite well there. David Perdue seems to be in good shot in Georgia. And then Cory Gardner, he was probably toast no matter what.
Purdue's been pretty close, though. That one I could see going either way, actually.
It's possible.
Yeah, and then McSally's way down.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention that.
Mark Kelly is done.
Yeah, pretty much done so.
Way down to Mark Kelly out in Arizona, so that one is looking pretty ugly. But if you start to see the presidential race kind of getting out of hand in the direction of Joe Biden, you start to ask if there are any Senate races that may come into play just out of that coattail effect. We covered here the CNN poll that has Trump down by 16 points. It's an outlier, let's be clear. But the Real Clear Politics average has Biden with an almost 9-point lead in the average of polls. So that means you start putting some other potentially Senate seats in play as well. One that has been consistently closer than what anyone, I think, really thought was in the state of South Carolina. So poll after poll shows this as basically a jump ball. And when we started seeing polls like that, I think people wanted to dismiss it as oh, that's a one-off, maybe that's an outlier poll. But we've pretty consistently seen Jamie Harrison, the Democratic contender, hanging in there with Lindsey Graham. They just had a debate recently. I wanted to show you a little bit of Jamie Harrison and some of the critiques that he launched against Lindsey Graham.
Our infrastructure in this state, and I'm going to use a technical word, sucks. And it's because we've had leaders who've been feckless for 20-some-odd years. And Senator Graham is one of them. In listening to debates over the years, every debate, Senator Graham gets this question about I-73. And every time he says, oh, I'm for it. Well, you know what? There's something that the kids in my classroom used to tell me. They said, Mr. Harrison, the most powerful way that you can do and persuade somebody is to show and not tell. People are tired of hearing politicians time after time after time say that they're going to do something and actually go to Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden they get some type of amnesia. I think Senator Graham is suffering from that amnesia. He has said that he's going to be for I-73, and we still have not seen I-73 happen yet.
And I've been watching him throughout this campaign. And look, that messaging is nothing crazy or over the top. But it's pretty effective. Just he's been there. He has it delivered for you. Very specific about the road that needed to get done, that he didn't get done. And he hit him this way relentlessly in the debate. It's what's been coming out in his ads. It seems to be working pretty effectively, as Lindsey Graham's definitely someone who's associated with business as usual in this town.
Yeah, and so actually, for context, Nikki Haley ran on improving South Carolina roads and infrastructure, I-73 specifically. This is not really a partisan issue. People weaponize it for political use all the time. And I think Jamie Harrison is very smart in the campaign that he's running against Lindsey Graham. Notice he didn't talk about Mueller or any of that other stuff. He's talking about the road you drive on sucks. This guy said he would fix it, and he's not fixing it.
Hasn't done it.
Brilliant. Honestly, if I was running, that's exactly what I would do. So it's a jump ball. Jamie Harrison also has been swimming in cash. He's got millions and millions of dollars. Lindsey Graham has had to go on Fox several times and been like, I don't know where all his money's coming from.
Beg for money.
He's like, please give me money. He's basically sounds like pathetic, really, when he's talking. He's like, please, I need money. Like, I really need it. So you can see that at the very least, Lindsey himself feels as if he's in trouble here.
And you've seen outside money coming in, which also is an indication of a close fight.
Yeah, that's right. So it's outside money on both sides. I doubt much of it is even about South Carolina. So who knows whenever it comes to those voters. The other race that we want to mention here is North Carolina. Had a little bit of wrench thrown in from both sides. So Tom Tillis, the incumbent senator, actually has coronavirus. So he can't go out and he can't campaign. Now, the current poll there shows Cal Cunningham leading him at 48-42. But Mr. Cunningham has had some moral lapses. And so it seems that he's been sexting with a married woman. The text came out. Apparently there's another woman involved. However, some of the polling that we have says some people don't really care. Maybe we're France now. Let's throw that up there on the screen. More likely to vote for him, 3%. I want to meet those. Less likely, 37. No difference, 58. I just think that, maybe in normal times it would matter. But this time around, I don't think people care.
And look who the president is. Do people really care with him? They didn't really care. And so the 6 points that Cunningham is holding on to in that PPP poll is essentially what his average has been. It's at 6.5% in the Real Clear Politics average.
Yeah.
And this PPP poll was all after the sexting scandal was revealed, so there's a couple of allegations, one of which he's admitted to having this inappropriate relationship with a woman in California. Cal Cunningham is married. I believe she's married as well. Too. And so now there's another allegation that maybe he's involved with another woman. As far as I know, I checked this last night, he hadn't responded, so we don't know if that one's true or not. But anyway, that's generally the tenor of what's going on there. But yeah, ultimately, I don't think that people are really going to care, frankly. They have kind of, people have just sort of abandoned this idea that whether you're having an affair, whether these things really bear directly on how you're going to handle yourself in Washington. Personally, I think that's how it should be. But I do think that President Trump has kind of broken that open in terms of making it a bipartisan, whatever.
Yeah, no, look, people are going to vote for somebody who they think they're going to do in their best interest. Doesn't really matter if they generally align. I do think it's objectionable. But, what are you going to do? That's the country that we live in. And so I think it's interesting when we look at kind of what's happening all across the country and we see a broad swing towards the Democrats. Now, look, it could all be wrong, right? We could be sitting on the greatest polling error in history. Really. It's possible. I don't see any evidence towards that fact. We've sought and looked it out for. We've had dissident voices. We've had the People's Pundit on here. I do look very closely at voters' registration numbers, which Republicans are doing pretty well in many of these regards. Enthusiasm is sky high amongst the Trump base. I just don't know. I don't want to disbelieve my lying eyes. So, we will see. But it looks right now as if the Senate is not doing so hot for Republicans. And in particular, there are just races like McSally and Cory Gardner and Susan Collins where it's just like they're probably toast. Yeah. That's just the case. Yeah. So that's 3 seats. So you're already starting from a deficit.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, you have Doug Jones down in Alabama is very likely to lose for the Democrats. The Republicans do make up one there. But yeah, it looks like generally the races that have been close have been moving in Democrats' direction. So at this point, looks highly likely like you're going to end up with a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, and Democrats are almost definitely going to hold the House. They could end up with the trifecta come this November. All right, we'll have more Rising for you after this.